Hello YouTube, this is XOR Hacks. Today I will be doing Devel, which is an easy Windows box on HackTheBox and also on the OSCP like boxes list by TJ Null and TCM, the Cyber Mentor. I will be showcasing two kinds of shells on the target and demonstrating a manual way of exploiting it and also via Metasploit. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's get started with the basic nmap port scan. Nmap SV for default scripts, SV for version enumeration, ON for normal output, and I'll put it in a directory called nmap and name the output file as Devel. And the IP address of the box, which is 10.10.10.5, and tag VV for a verbose output. I already ran the scan before, so I'll just show you the output. I find two ports open, port 21, which is FTP, and port 80, which is HTTP. And on FTP, we can see some interesting files which we'll come back to soon later. So let's visit the website. We are greeted with the default IIS7 default page. And we can also confirm over here, it's Microsoft IIS HTTP 7.5. And in the source code, we can see something over here, which is welcome.png, which is actually something we saw before in the FTP output. And by looking over here, we can see that whichever directory FTP is serving us is also the root directory for Microsoft IIS HTTP 7.5. So let's see, can we actually get access to it? And in the nmap scan also, we can see that anonymous FTP login is allowed. So let's log in. And I'm not entering any password, it's just blank, only pressing enter. And let's see, yes, we can actually view it. So just to test it out, let's create a text file with the text testing. Use the bin mode and put test.txt. And we can see that it was uploaded. Now can we actually visit it? And yes, we can. So we have confirmed that we can actually upload a file to the FTP directory and we can also visit it, and it does actually run a file. So in cases like this, we can use something like, so why did I choose ASPX? Well, first reason, it does tell us that it's an ASP.NET client, and usually when we see something like Microsoft IIS servers, we can assume that it's probably running ASPX or ASP. So that's a general safe bet, but it's not always the case. You can also use PHP shells, but in this case, ASPX would do. So I'll copy this file to my current work directory. And let me just put it. And we were able to upload the file successfully. And now let me just visit it. ASPX. Here we get a web shell. We can just type who am I and execute. Over here we can see we are actually able to execute commands as IIS apollo/web through our web shell. This is actually something that is really dangerous, but because it's HackTheBox and we want to make things easier for ourselves, let's get a reverse shell on our system. So again, I will use MSF Venom as I have in my previous videos too. And the payload will be so here I'm using Metapeta because I'll be using MSF console to actually get a reverse shell, which is allowed. I'll show you why. Let me just, yeah. Why While this is working, let me show you some more things about MSFNM. Over here we can see the option list. In my previous videos I used the .exe format. Over here I'm using .aspx. It can actually support many other formats, so let's see how to check that here. So I want to see L formats, and now here we can see that we get a huge list. Let's go up and we can see ASP and ASPX are both supported, and ASPX-exe2 and DLL files and a lot of other stuff which we will be using in further boxes too. And MSFNM can create a lot of payloads and a lot of encodings and methods, which I will also demonstrate in future videos. So let's go back to trying to exploit this box, and we were able to get a rev.aspx over here. So let's put it. Well, we can't connect to FTP, so let's try logging in again. We can confirm that we have put rev.aspx on here. So now I'll actually open it in a separate window. So now let me just start Metasploit console. I'll do it in TAQ quiet mode. Actually, let's skip the quiet mode this time. So if I use quiet mode, I won't be getting this really cool banner, which also tells us that we are a hacker. So now here I can't search just Metapreter, because Metapreter's the module we are going to be using is called multi-handler. So I'll do use exploit multi-handler. So let me just clear the screen. We can do options and see what we need to provide. We need to provide the L host, and I'll say s10 and we need to provide it with the payload option. It does choose a generic shell reverse TCP, but we are using Windows Metapreter reverse TCP. So and let's confirm, and we have set everything properly. So let's do run, and now it is waiting for a connection. So now we can actually just change the name over here to rev and press enter, and we can see that we are getting a connection back from the target machine, and we get a Metapreter shell. The first thing I usually do is sysinfo. So we can see the name of the computer is Devel, and it is running Windows 7 build 7600, and is running a 32-bit architecture, and the domain is .htb. Well, it's HTB here, but usually .htb. So we can do shell and get a normal reverse shell on here. So we can again do who am I, and we get is apollo/web. Now usually what I would do on a Windows box would be upload winps and try to go through that, but for some reason it did not work on this box. Just let me show you that. So first let's see what users do we have on here. So we can see administrator and Babis. So let's try entering Babis. We won't be able to because we are not the user Babis yet. So let's go for public. What do we have here? Let's now go to documents. Now it's empty. So now we can locate our this needs to be capital. This is odd. I need this one, so I'll just copy this here and paste hoster Python server on 1337, and we need to download it on this system. So let's check out our IP address too. It is 10.10.14.15. So oftentimes you would use something like PowerShell on the system, but what if you do not have PowerShell, which I'm sure this box actually does have PowerShell, but there's another application you can use called certutil. It's a Windows utility and you can use it like this. So util.exe, f, split, and URL cache. Let's provide our server's address, the port, and the name of the file. I'll just copy the name of the file and paste it over here, and we'll save it as winpeas.exe. So let's run it now, and it does not give us anything. I'm not really sure why this happens, probably because of an update with WinPeas does not support an older box, or there is some kind of an issue with running it, but as we run a shell, we can't really see that. The other thing, as it is a Windows box, we can enumerate it further. So let's just close this and let's do system info. Here in system info, we can see the information we saw before too, just a basic information, and let's see further. Whenever you're enumerating a Windows machine, something really important to look at is the hotfixes. It means, and when you see something like NA, it means the box has not been updated since Windows was actually installed on the box. So this is most probably something installed directly out of the CD and whatever came in the box. So any of the updates or any kind of security vulnerability patches were actually given for Windows have not been set on here. So it can be vulnerable to a lot of stuff. So over here we can see that it is Microsoft Windows 7. So everything that Windows 7 Enterprise and this build is vulnerable to will work on this box. So as we've already established that no new security patches have been actually installed on this box, there are many ways we can actually go further about enumerating and trying to exploit this box. When I actually first did the box, I was able to run a tool called Watson on this machine. I'll just show you the tool. It's by Rastamouse. So it's a .NET tool designed to enumerate missing KBs and suggest exploits for privilege escalation vulnerabilities. So the supported versions are Windows 10 1507 to these, and Server 2016 and 19. And as we can see, we actually have Windows 7 over here. Let me show you again. 7 and Enterprise. So but you can actually try this tool out on this box, and if anyone of you actually get it to work, do let me know, but this most probably will not. There are other boxes where you will be using this tool, and it is actually an important tool to have in your own repo. So this is a .sln file. You'll be using something like Visual Studio 2019 to build and compile it, and you need to provide it with some information like the architecture of the system, and well, that's pretty much it. You just need to provide the architecture it is running on and make a few tweaks. But as for this box, it will not work. What I did after that is, for currently when you want to exploit this box, you won't be able to use any of the tools, so you can search for information like Windows 7 Enterprise and the build number 7600. So let's actually try to do that. Let's go on Google. Windows 7 7600 privilege escalation, and the first link we get is by exploit.db, and here we can search for, and you can see Windows 7 x86 is vulnerable. You can go through it further and we can see exploit notes, and we need to compile it, and we can compile it on our Kali machine 64-bit with this command. So first let's copy it to our machine. I'll press here, and as this is MS11046, I'll save it as that. So wget sorry 046, and now we actually need to compile the exploit. To be able to compile it, you will need to install the, where's it gone? Here. You need to install mingw64. To be able to install this, I'll be adding the command in the description of the video. I've already installed it. You will still need to update your machine before you install it. So let's view it over here. And let's copy the command we need for compiling it. I'll copy it, and I made another mistake. I should have saved it with .c. So when you do download it and rename it, do add the .c in the end. So let me just paste it over here, and let's, just for ease of life, let's name the output exploit.exe. Give it a little while. And do we get anything? Yes, we do. Now let's again host the Python web server. And search util. And my Metasploit shell just died. I need to run it again. And we again get a connection back. I'll again go to the same directory. And my web server's IP address and the port number. And as we can see, request was made and it is now downloading it. So did we get it? Yes, we did. So now let's just run. And we can see that the exploit ran and there was a change in this line. Now we are in Windows System 32, which is usually only accessible by administrators. So let's do who am I? We are NT authority. So we have now finally rooted the box manually. Now, as this is just a manual method and we will not really be using it something like this in real life scenarios or any atmosphere outside the exam, let me actually try to do this box through methods that you would use in a pen test and using other tools. So now let's do it using Metasploit. So for the purpose of this particular box, let's assume I did all the enumeration and now I've got a Metasploit shell as the user IIS Apollo. So let me show you. Who am I? I am IIS Apollo Web. Let's say I've already run all my tools like WinPs and any Windows enumeration tool, and I'm not able to find anything. So what do I do next? So in Metasploit, you would have a lot of options. Like let's background this particular session, and for doing that, we'll do Control+Z or Z. And as I've done that, we can, we need to do that here. So let's do sessions, and we can see the Metasploit Windows session and the user is IIS Apollo and this is the connection. So now to actually find vulnerabilities for this, we can do first, let's search something like Suggester. So this is a Metasploit version for Windows exploit Suggester, and I'm going to use it right now. So we see the options. it's asking for the which session I'm using, and we can see the ID of the session we got the shell on is 1. So I'll set session 2.1, and now we can just do run, and I'm back. The expert suggestor does take a while to run, so I just cut the video a little short, and if you think that it is stuck, don't panic, it just takes a little while to run, so just wait. And we can see that from the output we have got a lot of stuff over here, and the exploit we're going to be using for this box is ms10.015. So let me just do use and just copy this particular part over here, delete the colon from the end, and we can see, and let's do options, and we can see that defaulting to Windows Metasploit, it already set the payload for us. And now let's set the lhost to 0, and the set the session. Over here we can see the session option to 1, which we did in the previous exploit suggestor 2. Now we just need to confirm and type in run. And now we can enter shell, and who am I? I am NT system authority and NT authority system, and now we have rooted the box. So you can see the difference between a manual method and just using Metasploit. Using Metasploit, we didn't really have to Google or be that worried about finding the correct encoding or actually compiling the exploit for ourselves to use. Metasploit did all of that for us as we have rooted the box. Now, thank you for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be uploading the next video on the next weekend. Thank you.